A deep sigh of relief because he was afraid that I would say, I can't baptize you because your sins are too grievous, your sins are too bad, your sins are unforgivable. Well, that violates everything I've ever believed, and I would never say that. Jesus Christ came to save sinners. Jeffrey Dahmer was a sinner, and it's as simple as that. It was our first Thanksgiving holiday that was coming up, and so he made a big deal about giving this card to me, and it was written out and so forth. He talked about how much he was grateful for all that I'd done for him and how thankful he was that I was in his life, that I hadn't given up on him. The only emotion he ever had confessed to regarding his murders was love. It wasn't hatred at all. And I never saw a sense of malice or anger or hatred toward any of his victims at all.
In november 1993 brengt de schizofrene gevangene Christopher Scarver 2 medegedetineerden om het leven. Een van hen is Jesse Anderson, de andere is Jeffrey Dahmer.
Scarver got a piece of equipment off an exercise machine, crept up upon Dahmer and bludgeoned him to death. And then crossed the gymnasium and bludgeoned to death Anderson.
He knew that he was going to be killed if he asked for the general population. And talking to the investigators said that the gentleman that was killed with him, Jesse Anderson, had all kinds of defensive marks where he tried to stop Carver. But Jeff Dahmer had no defensive marks on him, that all his strikes were from the beginning, from the head. And a very interesting thing, what I thought was interesting, was he was killed with a hand barbell, which is the same instrument he used to kill his very first victim.
He was a young man that I felt a friendship toward, and I'd lost a friend, and so I was very much in shock and disbelief about it at first.
I felt somewhat sorry for the man being beaten to death by another inmate. Didn't seem right. It's not supposed to be what happens in prison.
It did kind of shake me up a little bit. I don't know if this means I'm, not the macho guy I wanted to be, but I felt really conflicted about it. Because I had got to know him, I saw him as a very tragic figure. I guess I felt sad that he was dead because I don't believe anybody needs to die like that.
He died pretty brutally, but you can't say he didn't deserve it, but still. I think at that point it's probably a relief to him. I would think that was no kind of life.
I was kind of elated. I was kind of happy. I'm like, well, good riddance. I'm glad it's over. That's the least he can do for me, for taking my friend. And he didn't deserve to live. Not after that.
Jeffrey Dahmer was cremated immediately, although his brain was removed at the request of his mother. She wanted the brain studied because she's trying to offset the belief that Lionel had suggested that somehow his brain was deformed. About a year later, the scientist involved with the brain decides there's no abnormality with his brain.
Waren de daden van Dahmer alleen aan de omstandigheden te wijten? Of was hij een geboren moordenaar?
No, I thought he was born like that, and I think it's environmental. And I disagree. I think anybody who in a young age is the victim of abject loneliness is probably going to have serious problems in life of one nature or another.
Did he choose evil? Yes. Was he an evil person? I can't say, and I wouldn't say that about anybody, especially after I spent so much time with him and saw parts of him that were very much like you and me. He had cares and loves and feelings like anybody else. Did he have some... I personally thought he was crazy. You'd have to be crazy to do what he did.
I don't think Dahmer was born to kill. I think Dahmer had the benefits of a good family, a basically good family, a decent area in which to be raised, educational opportunities. He chose not to accept them.
Wat zijn moorddadige leven ook mag hebben veroorzaakt, het heeft in elk geval diepe wonden geslagen in Milwaukee.
He scarred the city. He's done something that will probably take generations to heal, but for some people it'll never heal.
Tot zover deze reportage. Volgende week zijn we er weer met een opmerkelijke documentaire. Voor nu bedankt voor het kijken. Een hele goede nacht en graag tot volgende week zondag.